Okay, in this lesson, we will take a look at time and dates in Excel. Now, before we get too into doing date and time calculations, it's important to understand the way Excel works with and stores time and dates. And yes, I'll fully acknowledge that odds are in real life you will not have to get too deep with this, yet it's still going to be important to know for possible future reference. Let's start with dates. In Excel, dates are stored as serial numbers. Put another way, Excel presents the date to us in a way we can understand. Behind the scenes, it stores the date in a way that Excel can understand. And the way Excel stores those numbers allows us to use them in calculations. Let's take a look to illustrate this. Here we have two columns of the exact same date, and on one side, it's been labeled date in our world, and on the other side, it's labeled date in Excel's world. So if we want to see the actual serial number behind the scenes, we can jump over here to the column called date in Excel's world, select those dates, then go over here to where it says clear formats. The date will disappear, and we'll be left with a bunch of goofy numbers. These goofy numbers are the date in Excel. Put a different way, August 31st of 2005 in our world was 38,595 in Excel's world. Now, just to clarify where all this comes from, please recognize that day 1 in the computer is January 1st, 1900. And we can prove that by looking down here. You'll see the numbers 1, 2, and 3 in two separate columns. So if we take the numbers on the left-hand side and apply a date format to those, you will see they come back reading January 1st, January 2nd, and January 3rd of 1900. Put a different way, if you look up here, as of January 1st of 2023, 44,927 days have passed since January 1st of 1900. Yeah, think about that for a little while. All right, let's move on and talk about time. When you work with time in Excel, the way time is stored is as a percentage. Phrased differently and going one level deeper, as the day moves on, a certain percentage of time has passed. Now that definitely sounds a little weird, so let's clarify that by way of illustration. Over here, we have two columns, both showing identical times. The one on the left is labeled time in our world. The one on the right is labeled time in Excel's world. So if we want to explore that percentage of the day that has passed concept, if we go up here and clear our formats, we'll notice that we are left with a bunch of goofy decimals. Now these decimals are showing you the percentage of the day that has passed with the given time. Put another way, at 9 o'clock in the morning, 37.5% of the day has passed. At 12 p.m., 50% of the day has passed. At 9 p.m. in the evening, 87.5% of the day has passed. And at 11:59 p.m., 99.9% of the day has passed. So on a finer note, whenever you are working with time in Excel, you want to make sure Excel recognizes the numbers you've typed as time. The way you do that is to make sure you put a space in between the time and typing AM or PM. If you do not put a space in there, Excel will not recognize what you typed as time. Let's see a quick illustration. So if we jump down here to a random cell and type out 12:15 p.m. and make sure to include the space, Excel will recognize it as time. By contrast, if we click into a different cell and type out 12:15 p.m. with no space, you can see that Excel did not recognize this as time. So that is something very important to keep in mind whenever you work with time. To wrap up this lesson, the big takeaway is the following. Whenever you work with dates or time in Excel, even though it may be displayed as a date or a time, behind the scenes, it's actually a number. Once you get that concept under your belt, date and time calculations get a lot easier. Now that we understand how times and dates are stored in Excel, let's start doing some calculations. The good news is they're pretty straightforward. Here we have a list of our employees, the date they took an exam, the number of days until their next exam, and we want to know what is the due date. To do this, all we have to do is take the test date and add it to the days until the next exam. It's very simple. Here we go. Type equal, click on the test date, type a plus sign, click on the number of days until the next exam, press enter. From here we can drag it down, and that's it. Moving on, let's say the employees have to take a recertification exam X number of months after the test date. To solve this, we can use a special function called the eDate. The eDate will add a specified number of months to a date. The cool thing is it's super simple to use. Let's see it in action. We'll type equal eDate, open parentheses, click on the test date, type a comma, click on the number of months until the recertification exam, press enter, and there we go. Moving on, let's take a look at the text function. The text function will allow us to display a number as text. Granted, there is a lot of flexibility and a lot of things you can do with it. In this case, let's keep it simple. In our case, we want to see the month in which the test was taken. We can do this by typing out equal, text, open parentheses, click the date, type a comma, open quote, type M 3 times, close quote, close paren, and there we go. And just so you are aware, when we typed the 3 M's, it'll display the month in an abbreviated manner. On a similar note, we can leverage the text function to show us the day of the week the test was taken. So we'll click here and type equal, text, open parentheses, click on our date, type a comma, do an open quote, and this time we'll type out 4 Ds, close quote, close paren, and this time we will get the full day of the week displayed. And therein lies the difference. If you type in 3 M's or 3 D's, you will get the abbreviated display. If you type out 4 M's or 4 D's, you will get the full display of the month or the day of the week. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at how to add some years to an existing date. And we'll take a look at 2 ways of doing this. Let's start off looking at the eDate. In a previous lesson, we showed you how the eDate function would add months to a date. We can build on that by modifying the number of months the eDate function calculates. So by way of example, here we have some test dates and we want to know when 3 years from that date's going to be. We can go up here and type out equal eDate, open parentheses, click on our year, type a comma, and here we have 2 choices. We could type out 3 times 12 or the number 36 because they're both equal to 3 years. No matter what choice we make, once we're done, press enter, and there's 3 years from the day. And the other option is to use the date function. Now, granted, this may be a little obscure, kind of awkward, and frankly, it's sort of old school. Yet the reason we've chosen to include this is just in the case you cross paths with it in a previous spreadsheet that's been around for a couple years. We want you to be familiar with it. Let's take a look. The way the date function officially works is you feed it a year, a month, and a date, and it will combine all 3 of those to create a valid date, which admittedly is kind of weird. In this case, we're going to flip it around. We're going to take the date function and have it break a date into 3 separate pieces, year, month, and day, and then add 3 years to the year. Let's take a look. We'll type equal date, open parentheses, type year, do an open paren, click our cell, do a close parentheses, type a comma, followed by the word month, open parentheses, click on that date again, close parentheses, type a comma, type the word day, open parentheses, click on the date one more time, close out the parentheses, press enter. Now, if we got this right, we should see the exact same date. And now to finish this off, here comes the awkward part. We have to go up here and click where the year value ends and then add 3. We'll type +3, press enter, and that'll give us 3 years from that date. Again, very clunky, not very efficient, yet that's the old school way of doing things. Another powerful date calculation that we can use is something called the date diff. Now, what exactly does the date diff do? Well, it will look at 2 dates and show you the difference in either years, months, or days, depending on what you want. Now, the really odd thing is, for some reason, it's a hidden or undocumented function, meaning if you would go up and click on the FX icon, you would not find date diff in there anywhere. Yeah, I don't get it either. So unfortunately, in this case, we got to type it out longhand, and fortunately, it's not that bad. Let's take a look. Here we have a list of our old employees, the dates they were hired, the dates they left the company, and let's just say we want to see the duration in years. So we'll go up here and type out equal date diff, open parentheses, click on our starting date, type a comma, click on the end date, type a comma, then do an open quote, letter Y, close quote, close parentheses, press enter, and there is our duration in years. Now, when we use the date diff, we have a couple choices. We can either show things in total years, total months, or total days. So if we use Y, that'll show us total years. If we use M, that'll show us total months. If we use D, that'll show us total days. And that's all you need to know. The biggest question is, which one do you want to use in real life? And that'll do it for the date diff. Okay, let's talk about time calculations in Excel. For most people, when they work with time in Excel, they want to figure out the time in between, the time spent, or the duration. And yes, I will fully recognize there's a whole school of thought as to which method is best with keeping time in Excel, meaning do you use military time? Do you use standard time? The various ways of calculating time? I get it. The goal here is just to keep it simple to convey the concepts. That said, let's take a look at our example. Here we have our employees, the start time and the end time, and we want to figure out the total amount of hours. To solve this, it's just a matter of simple subtraction. What we'll do is we'll type out equal, click on our end time, minus our start time. Now here's where most people get hung up. They can tell the duration is correct, but they're confused as to why the number is being displayed as an official time, which leads us to a big point. Oftentimes when you work with time in Excel, if something is not displayed properly, it's usually a matter of improper formatting. So what we'll do is we'll drag our formula down first, not going to worry about what it looks like. Then we'll go up here and click on our number format, go down to where it says custom, and then choose this one that reads H:MM. And there we go. Not too bad. Now, let's take a look at another common situation where you have to figure out hours worked minus lunchtime. So let's start by looking at our information. Here we have our employees, the time in, the time the lunch started, the time lunch ended, the time out, and we obviously want to figure out the hours worked. To solve this, it's a little funky, but it works. The way it's done is you subtract out your end time from your starting time, then subtract out the lunch ending time from the lunch start time. Yeah, not confusing at all, right? It'll be easier when you see it. Let's take a look. Let's click here, type an equal sign, click our timeout, minus our time in, minus, do an open parentheses, the lunch end, minus the lunch start, close the parentheses, press enter, and that looks about right, with the exception of the formatting issue. So let's drag this down. Don't worry about what it looks like. Go up here, apply our custom time format, and there we go. All right, not too bad. Okay, let's take a look at this ceiling function. What exactly is the ceiling function? Well, technically the ceiling function rounds a number up to a given multiple. The cool thing is the ceiling function understands time as well, of which we'll see here in a few moments. For now, the big takeaway is to recognize the ceiling function always rounds up. In this example, here we have our employees, the time they spent on a project, and the boss wants to see these durations rounded up to the next 15 minutes, just to get a rough idea of how long they spent on the project. And you guessed it, we'll use the ceiling function to do it. Let's type out equal, ceiling, open parentheses, click on our time, type a comma, open quote, 0:15, close quote, close paren, press enter, and right there is the next 15-minute increment. From here, just copy the formula down, and right there you have it. Closely related to the ceiling function is the mround function. The mround function will round a number up or down to the nearest multiple. In our case, we'll have the mround round up or down to the nearest time we designate. Let's see our example. Here we have our employees, the time they spent on a project, and the boss wants to see these durations displayed to the closest 15 minutes, which means the time spent could be rounded up or down depending on the duration provided. Let's take a look. To solve this, type equal, mround, open parentheses, click on our time, type a comma, open quote, 0:15, close quote, close paren. Excel will look at that duration and show us the nearest 15-minute increment. Let's conclude this module by looking at some various ways to quickly add the current date or current time to our spreadsheet. Method 1 is to type out equal now, open parentheses, close parentheses. Excel will show you the current date and time. Method 2 is to type out equal today, open paren, close paren, and that will show you just today's date. The important thing to note here is that these are both functions, meaning every time you open your spreadsheet, they will refresh to reflect the current time and current date. And the last one is to press Control semicolon. If you do that, it will insert today's date, but that date will be static and it will not change every time you open up your file. Okay, and that'll do it. We hope you've liked this video, and we will see you in the next one.